about it at the time.
Was this
Yeah,
it?
we did Gamba shit,
Oh.
but we were like thrown under the bus, if that makes sense. Like whenever shit hit the fan and we were like against it, then they piled on. Everybody piled on. You don't have to be for it. You don't have to be neutral. You don't have to do anything. But I think piling on is something you do like by choice. And you know, me and Train, like we're kind of like we're not vindictive, but we take notes, right? People are gonna be a bunch of hoes. We take notes. We're not gonna go against them
I
like
think
crazy.
the word you mean is petty.
Yeah, we're not. Okay, we're not
No,
petty.
y'all are a little petty.
No, they're petty as fuck. They're petty white. They're Tom Petty, motherfucker. Look, here's all I'm gonna say is this. Okay, he fucking did the thing where he pointed to like people being wrong about their takes on Gamba instead of like the main overarching issue. For example, he is going to bring up in this situation, he's going to bring up the notion that like how can people trust you because like other Gamba streamers in the past have like gotten paid by the house and like they have fake odds or whatever, you know what I mean? And he hyper focuses on that, but it's not even that. It's not, that wasn't the main issue at all. I've never fucking made that argument. My argument always is that like what Pokimane does a really good job of describing here, which is you're making money off of like getting people addicted to gambling, right? And even then, I still think it's I get why it's I get why it is content. Like I get it. And he cares about content more than anything else, and it's content.
Okay.
You're not
sometimes we're petty.
vindictive and vengeful, but you're a little petty.
We're not gonna take action.
I
But,
think all streamers are a little petty, low-key.
but I take notes though. All I do is take notes.
Noted.
Noted it. So I'm gonna say, because generally, if you're kind of wrong, then you're wrong. But if you're piling on, it's kind of like, okay, I'll note that, right? And then maybe next time when they're in trouble, I'll pile on it, right? But then it felt to me like we got piled on and then 180'd on. That was my concern. So it's why I talked to him off stream, and I was like, see, at the time you piled on me and you piled on us,
Playing
but
both
now you're
sides.
180ing. So it's like when you're piling on, you act as if you know better, in my opinion. But then comes up later that you don't, and that's the only thing I didn't agree with.
Well, I mean, didn't Miz do a gambling sponsorship before? So I don't think he ever acted like he knew better. I think. I don't know.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
talking about misgive. Okay. I don't know why. Dude, the main fucking drivers of people who were criticizing XQC and Train and all the other gamer streamers were not misgive. Misgive did what misgive always does. I think he did a good job of like not taking on additional Gamba streams, right? He fucking did one and then was like, okay, this is not for me. And then he, you know, added himself into the conversation a little bit by turning around and saying like, I did one, I no longer do it. And I respect him for no longer doing it, right? But he just inserted himself into the conversation in the same way that he does. But the main argument wasn't coming from Misgive. The main argument was always coming from someone like myself and someone like Ethan as well.
I don't remember. Anyway, I ended up being kind of wrong about it because I talked to him about it and I was like, yeah, like I was just mauled like because we got paddled last time, whatever. So we cleared it up. It was fine.
Okay.
Like at the end of it, we kind of hashed it out like it was like no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad. I kind of hard snapped because one, he didn't take it, whatever, and it doesn't matter anyway. It's
Oh, yeah. I think you reacted that way because you thought he did take the.
yeah, they did take it,
And you thought that would be hypocritical.
which would have
Got
been
it.
fine. Also, I would have been. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd have been out of my depth anyway if I got mad about it.
You may be unaware, but Misgive recently said he was offered 10 million for slots and he thought about it. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Dude, slot guys give so much money. I don't know if he slot guys give so much fucking money. They offer a fuckload, dude. It's crazy. I don't even, I mean, Misgive has a tendency to exaggerate, but I'd be honest, like I wouldn't be surprised cuz how much motherfuckers give money. Like and let me tell you, for those of you who don't understand, okay, there's a couple things I need to mention here. I personally think there's a distinction between like poker or even fucking playing blackjack on stream, which they themselves are still, you know, addictive and it's still gambling, right? But slots are the absolute fucking worst, okay? Slots are the absolute fucking worst. They are mathematically created so that they are the most addictive. It sucks you in. And the way that, I mean, there are a lot of studies conducted on this. I want to really bring on Brace from TrueAnon and Liz to have this conversation at some point, because they have read into this a lot and they've talked about it a lot. But like, they are specifically, slots on the internet are really, really, really fucking nefarious. And apparently, and it goes all the way to like DraftKings, right? Like it starts off with like DraftKings and a type of gambling that DraftKings does, all the way to like actual fucking slots. Slots being on the worst side of that, where most people, the reason why like you get free money to fucking gamble in all of these websites is because these guys are functionally looking for the one guy that will stay on. Okay? They make most of their money off of what they consider to be whales, people who are fucking going to lose everything. Okay? The websites are designed in a way for like, what, 10% of all of the people that you're targeting to stay there, where they make 10% of the people that you are basically sucking into that gambling stream, to that gambling cycle, are going to be making up 100% of the revenue, straight up. And it's so good, it's so viable for them that they can spend tens of millions of dollars on streamers, on everything else that they possibly can, because they can spend tens of millions of dollars on a streamer and they have a massive audience. But then, you know, even 1% or 2% of that audience is going to become the big whales in that situation. And they're going to pay for the fucking marketing tenfold. They're going to be paying for the marketing because they are compulsive and they can't stop. Same thing with the crypto scam projects targeting compulsive gamblers. Yeah. That's how it works. Okay. And some of the compensation strategy that these websites have, on top of the millions of dollars that people are giving to streamers, literally revolve around the streamer himself getting a percentage of how much money their fans are losing, which makes it doubly fucked up. Okay? That's how it works. You're literally making money off of how many people are using your code to gamble to get that fucking free, to get that free like first $75 or whatever. And then you lose so much money, and a percentage of your losses are literally the payment that the people are getting. Okay? It's that fucked up. Straight up. It's that fucked up. But because of how much money because of how much money gambling platforms have, and because of how viable it is to focus on gambling as a consumer product, that's why you see DraftKings sponsor everything. That's why you see gambling websites sponsor everything. That's why they're all over the place, and that's why they're normalized and legitimized. Okay? Fake sign of Drake, so Canadians have seen. This was in my grandpapa's paper mail. Yeah.
I would have been out of my depth regardless.
I mean, I don't know. If I was you and someone...
It's amazing to me that Twitch hasn't stopped it, or that a tech journalist hasn't capitalized on what would be a very juicy story. I think the reason why they haven't done it is because gambling is so commonplace as a sponsor, as a main sponsor. Because if you're going to tackle gambling, you're creating like a really you're creating like a weird environment where it's kind of like, if you were to consider hot tub streams to be degenerate, right? The way to tackle that is really difficult. I don't personally think hot tub streams are degenerate, but some people do. If you were to tackle hot tub streams, and you were to clamp down on it, you have to get to a point where you're literally regulating what women can and can't wear in a two-tier system, basically, right? And the same goes for Gamba, because what constitutes for Gamba and what doesn't constitute for Gamba is relatively arbitrary. And also on top of that, there is a degree of legitimacy that comes from the billions of dollars this industry is cultivating, this industry is generating, and hundreds of millions of dollars in ad sponsorships that this industry gives to all of these other sports, where the sports themselves kind of become a vector for gambling. which is what the True Anon episode on gambling was focusing on, specifically looking at like DraftKings and its relationship with the NFL, for example. A lot of online gambling is turning into a metaverse type thing with now social aspects and more gamification. So they're making the environment way more aversive and addictive for gamblers. Yeah. Train is in a unique predicament, I think, because and I've said this since day one, I think he himself is like straight up fucking lost in the sauce. That doesn't excuse it, but you know, he is like unironically lost in the sauce personally. If you know what I mean. But he's an addict. He's a fucking addict. And I think he recognizes that. And I think he feels conflicted about it. And maybe that's part of the reason why he's so giving all the fucking time nonstop. Because he like battling his own demons. But I said this from day one, that like gambling is so fucking, it's just not great. It's so bad that like it'll break you.
Dogpiled on me for doing something.
For the record, gambling is, and I've talked about this before, but like gambling is literally the worst addiction, one of the worst addictions. It is the most suicidal addiction, for the record. For those of you who don't know, it's just, that is the truth, okay? And it is, it's incredibly hard to deal with. And it leads to debt. It ruins lives. It ruins families. It is really, really, really fucking hard. Went to a casino once for my grandma's birthday and was given money earmarked for gambling. It was so depressing seeing elderly people like hooked up to oxygen playing nonstop. I mean, at that point, I don't really give a shit because they're not losing like too much money. As long as they're like fucking having fun, that's whatever. Who gives a shit? They're going to die anyway. But I'm talking about people who are like in the beginning of their lives. You know what I mean? People who are watching Twitch and then they start fucking crypto gambling. And then, you know, this is just it. This is a demon that will haunt them for the rest of their lives. Dude, the old grandpa spin 20 cents a spin. Yeah, we're not talking about that. We're talking about 200K if fucking spin on cryptocurrency and shit. X is too. He just doesn't do it on stream, but he said it many times. He went to the bathroom for 5 minutes on the podcast that he even gambled in there. Yeah, it's just not great. I work at a casino. It's hella depressing. I feel conflicted about staying there morally. Yeah, at least they have money to lose. You know what I mean? And even then, it like will fuck their lives up, and they will lose all of their money straight up.
6 months later, they did the same shit. I would tell them, yeah,
perhaps. Yeah, it's just at the time, like with all the Gamba stuff. The problem is always the misinformation. That's my problem, because some things are wrong, but they're not like evil. And sometimes I feel like people know something is wrong, and it's easy to filibuster and just stack garbage. How do I say this? Let's say it's like a method of delivery. When everybody's against somebody, right? They're not gonna be as critical of information coming in if it's negative information, like stuff that's against.
Why would a rich person gamble? Gambling, it should be a rich person hobby to begin with.
So let's say, oh, everybody hates this. Oh yeah, and he also did that. Nobody's gonna go back and check if that's true or not. They're just gonna say, yeah, true, right?
True.
And the problem is that with the Gamba stuff, lots of stuff was bad, but people were stacking garbage in the bad,
worse.
Making it look like it was complete. And then we were like,
no one's fact checking.
Yeah,
True.
and we were like, dude, why are you doing that? And then we go on H2H podcast or whatever, and he's doing even more garbage, and we're like, dude, you're not just wrong here, man. Like
what? Like, what was he wrong about?
Dude, you guys are manipulating the wins during the stream, like, and we're like, dude,
you don't.
So I don't know if did Ethan say that? I don't even remember that personally, but like, I hate harping on that aspect of it because like there was no data on that. I don't even think Ethan said that. I think it was more, I never said it first and foremost, because my attitude is I don't really give a fuck if you're like, if you're padding the fucking deck. You know what I mean? He absolutely did. I don't even care. I don't even care if you're doing that or not. I don't know if you're doing that or not, but I don't care. That's not the part of it that is bad for me personally. I think the part of which that is bad is like, you know, they're giving you millions of dollars because there's going to be people that will literally fucking turn around. And I think that's what we hyper focused on overall. Is that people are giving millions and millions of dollars. He did, and you backed him on it. Stop lying, lol, you piece of shit. Backtrack Andy yet again. I really do hope that you will get better, chatter. Really, really, really do hope. I believe in you. I believe you will get better, okay? I really hope you get better. I never said, think I said, and not only that, but I also don't care. I have not cared. Okay. Is there a point you'd ever personally reach out to X about getting treatment while himself has been on podcast and very addiction? Blowing $2 million a month on gambling losses is a lot for even for him. I don't know how much Ethan's POV on Gamba was also informed by the experience with covering the CSGO Lotto stuff. Back in the day, there was a lot of data backing rigging. Yeah. I think focusing on the rigging aspect of it is not smart, especially if you don't have any evidence for it. I specifically remember you changing the topic when he started going down that road. Yeah, I mean, I know for a fact I said I don't care about that aspect. For me, it's more so the larger consequence of promoting gambling for and I never realized how much shit you get. What the fuck? People got to chill for real? Yes. People get better overall. My argument always revolved around the reason why people pay you money when you're doing a Gamba stream might be doing it for content. And I know XQC is doing it for content because he already makes fucking millions, okay? He's not doing it because he's going to get like the bag. He's doing it because a lot of people watch him. I know this because I know him very well. Him and I have very similar attitudes about like community management and also caring about content, okay? He wants to entertain people and he thinks Gamba streams are entertaining. And he's right. They are entertaining, okay? So I already know that like his attitude is because one, it's entertaining. He sees other people pop the fuck off. So he's like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to fucking do Gamba streams. I'm going to pop the fuck off doing Gamba streams. And then if they give me money while I'm doing that, then great. That's a win-win, right? That I think is his attitude and how he went down that fucking pipeline of doing, Gamba content. Most people start off that way too. Some people are just like, no, I want to make money. It's great. I need to make money and I want to make money. Still, though, it doesn't matter because no matter what happens, you still got to think about the ethics of like what you are. Bro, he doesn't need popping off like you. Wait, what? Sure, but you still supported and piled that shit at the time. Look at that smooth skin though, bro. He doesn't need popping off like you. If you think that XQC also doesn't care, or has never cared about content, I don't know what to tell you. You're wrong. Why are there so many haters in here? No, they're not haters. I think they're just like XQC's little Zoomer juicer fanboys who are trying to explain his position away when I'm repeating what he's going to say here, no matter what. And then it turns into a personal addiction regardless, by the way. So ultimately, okay, I think Zoomer Juicer supporters are not understanding my position is exactly the same as his. I'm just criticizing him for it, and they think I'm in the wrong. But it captures you. It turns you into a fucking addict, and it's not good. It's really, really difficult to get out of.
I don't know that. Sorry, he doesn't know that, but you also don't know that.
Okay, so
which I think is, I mean, like you can't really argue that one way or the other. This is a genuine
misconception because there's two layers. I hate talking about this that much, but there is the host, the website, mm-hmm. and there's a provider. These are two different entities. Mm-hmm. Provider makes games. They just literally make the game. And then
now they're talking about the distinction between the providers and the website because now they're having a conversation about like how the games are not rigged by the providers. Again, something that I do not. You would suck Trump for content, lol. Yeah, totally. Am I being like posted on a different platform or something? I am realizing that we're getting a lot of fucking weirdos in the chat. I think it's probably because like I would suck Trump off because, I love that bussy. I want to see what that bussy do. Not because of the content. The content would be extra. Hold on 1 second. You're really gonna tell me? You're really gonna tell me, chatter, that you wouldn't want to see what this is about? You're gonna sit here and tell me a fucking lie that you wouldn't want to see what's going on, what that butt do? Look at that dumper. Look at that fucking dumpy, dude. That is a bakery and a half. When he comes down with his ass cheeks clapping, okay? Sound of his ass cheeks clapping can be heard from miles away. The shockwave itself sets off car alarms. Bakeries close up shop because they've thought, that's it. That's it. We're out of business. The new bakery is in town. His ass is literally the Jeff Bezos Amazon of bakeries. And you're going to sit here and be like, oh, you'd suck Trump off too? Yeah. Maybe I would. Okay. Maybe I would. Make asses fat again. You're right, chatter. Not make America great again. Make asses fat again. Back shots sounding like a gun range. 50 cal. Beretta. Look at this slut showing off his little panty line too. Okay. Cover it up, slut. Okay. Okay, all jokes aside, let's get back to the main issue at hand here. Okay?
Right? Just has the game and gives the game. Does that make sense? So saying, oh, dude, they're just manipulating the whole juice, and it's like, dude.
Someone said not on stake.
Yeah. I mean, it's all the companies. Plain Go, Pragmatic, whatever city. There's like a bunch of them. People talk about the live games. I'm talking more about the slot version of it. The slots all have a provider. Hacksaw Gaming, Pragmatic Gaming,
I get what you're saying, and maybe that gives like your situation credit, but it doesn't discount the fact that there can very easily be scams on these games, and I'm sure that there are.
No.
Or
I mean, we know it's a scam.
Percentage.
Everybody knows it's a scam.
In the back.
Not a scam, but everybody knows it's rigged. It's like,
Sorry, no, I mean, I think they can very much rig it, benefit someone as well. Stake? I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think that hosts can rig providers.
Maybe there are certain like that. But if someone's telling me, well, on stake they don't do it like that.
Again, it doesn't matter. It's like frustrating that he is hyper focusing on like hosts rigging providers and stuff when that is like not important. I think like the main issue at hand, at least from my point of view, at least from where I'm standing, the main issue at hand has never been about like whether there's rigging going on or whether hosts are rigging. But more so, and always has been about like feeding addiction to your followers. And I think Iman is going to do a good job here. From what I saw, the brief moments that I watched, that she is going to do a good job of like, hyper focusing on that as being the main issue.
Like it's all one platform. I'd be like, well, I can't trust it because
it's a misdirection because like other people have brought it up probably. I was not one of those people, no matter how much people fucking point to it and be like, you did it. Okay. But ultimately, it's more about the promotion of a vice that is like deeply, deeply addictive. Just like the vice I have, which is at the top of the hour, I serve you a 60-second ad break, right? Just like the vice I have about showcasing Trump's bussy, having that readily available to show you very quickly and very easily, okay?
Because in the past, it's been proven that these kind of websites do rig shit.
Yeah.
So, like, why would I trust it?
I have to pee. I'll be
think
back.
they see.
I think it's fine to say that you don't think they do, but you can't prove that.
Yeah, but I think them saying that they do 100% and most of your wins are illegitimate. I think that's very disingenuous.
Yeah, that's reaching, and like they have no way to prove that.
Like he was saying, like, oh, dude, you got like multiple 400K wins, right? That can't be mathematically, and we're like, dude.
But overall, you've lost like millions.
Yeah, like we spin like fucking like 8,000 times to get fucking 10x bonuses.
Yeah.
I get 1,000x. Like, yeah, it's real. It's not like made. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
It's why it was upsetting that they were just stacking lies in the middle of the thing.
What's your take on gambling now? Or streaming gambling?
It
not
hasn't
gambling.
changed. I think gambling is content. I think it's fun.
Is that it?
I think gambling is fun. I'm okay. There's some topics that I'm okay being wrong about. That's what I've done. I think gambling is fun. I enjoy doing it, and I don't see that much of a problem. I just wish people were more responsible with their thing and were more in line with how things are. You're watching degenerate rich people deprint money, right? Entertainment is being deprinted. Like, you don't have to go copy and do it. It's like saying that people are dying in skateboarding because of Jackass. Like, yeah, I get it. It's a problem also, but like, I'm just trying to make some content, have some fun, and spin some fucking machines. Like, I'm not trying to fucking reinvent the wheel. I don't know.
Do you think it's bad to take gambling?
Oh, wait. So I was right. He did say that. He did end up saying he started it off because of content. And he was like, I'm going to do it regardless because I want to do content. And if I get paid for it, that's how I felt. So all the fucking Zoomers who were like losing their shit, all the Zoomers that were fucking losing their shit earlier, all the juicers that were like, fuck you, why are you shitting on him? So his take was verbatim what I had said. That's interesting. If you have this kind of attitude where you're like, I think it's wrong when you say it, but it's okay when he says it, or your analysis here is incorrect because you're the one saying it, maybe just take a deep breath, think about it, and then, you know, try to figure out why you feel this way. Dude, this is the problem, though. Content mindset is so shitty. The watering down of entertainer to content creators is a real thing. Changed my mind. No, I mean, I think, like, look, I know he cares more about fucking entertainment. Always maximizing, like, always maximizing what he calls the juice, right? And it's the same for me as well. I care about entertainment. I want to make sure that, like, everyone is entertained. And if there are less people watching for a particular subject, that means, like, there are less people that are being entertained. Like, that's just how you can offer basically a quantitative approach to something that is otherwise qualitative, right? And that's what this is. So I get why, like, he at the time he saw like other Gamba streams like popping off, and he thought this is like fun content. I'm gonna do it for myself. I'm gonna do it myself as well. And then they were like, "Well, you're the largest streamer. We'll give you money." So he's like, "Sure, give me some money. I'm gonna do it anyway." So that's why he did it. It still doesn't matter because, like, ultimately, I think, you know, the ramifications of that or the consequences of that are not great for your audience.
Sponsorships on Twitch.
I don't think it's bad. I don't know. One else I don't. I think it's bad to take the ones that most of them are taking. So people will go.
A gambling sponsorship is the equivalent of a vodka company giving big streamers a bunch of water, telling viewers it's vodka, and having them chug entire bottles on camera and acting like it's fine. If you're being paid to gamble, you're not gambling. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a decent analysis on the situation. I know that people will say, like, well, what if I'm using my own money? Well, you're still getting paid to do it. When you get a sponsorship, you're getting paid to do it. Even if they are, like, actually, that was kind of terrible. I don't think it's a terrible analogy at all. Like, you're basically, you're sheltered from the most significant repercussions, except, like, it's like really watered down alcohol, I guess, because in the long run, like, you can still be impacted by it. You can still be impacted by it in the long run. You can become an alcoholic as a consequence of that. You can become a gambling addict as a consequence of the Gamba streams you're doing yourself. That's a really, really good analogy, actually. God damn, we've been talking about this issue for such a long time, and I never thought about that. Once again, Chatter's significantly smarter than me, more creative, and funnier than me, as always.
Against me for this, but things like train.
Genuinely concerned about people's critical thinking, saying that's a good analogy. They get paid to do it, but they lose their own money too. Okay, it's like, yeah, that's why I said maybe there's a little bit of alcohol in there too, enough that, like, it can make you addicted as well. and then you become an alcoholic personally as well. But ultimately, I think it's a solid analogy because you're still sheltered from the worst repercussions that your audience is being subjected to. And it's and the thing I've always said, and I keep repeating this point over and over again, is that like if it didn't work, you wouldn't get 10 million. Got caught saying you're boring in 4K, you're gonna get clipped by the haters. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Suck my dick. I say I'm a dumb himbo idiot all the time. Fuck. Dude. I swear to God, I am getting COVID brained. I fucking forgot what I was gonna say. God damn it. Hold on. Let me think real quick. Yeah, I forgot. Oh. The thing I repeat all the time is that like if it wasn't successful, if this method wasn't successful, streamers wouldn't be getting paid $10 million. You know what I mean? They would not want to give Mizgiv 10 mil or whoever the fuck 20 mil, 10 mil, whatever year-long contracts. That's how it works. Nobody's giving money to streamers out of the kindness of their fucking hearts. They're giving money to streamers because it works. It's an effective marketing strategy. All right.
I know for a fact, because I at the time I knew, and I spoke with the guys over there. The deals aren't what you would think they are. It's not like affiliate code shilling dog shit. Some of these guys, like, I don't know if you'll see in the slot categories, you go down in the description, and they have an affiliate code for like 12 casinos, and every day they change website. They change website like 4 times a day sometimes, right?
Weird.
Because they have deals with all the companies, and they just shill the codes. And the codes, they come from the viewers.
Yeah, he's describing what I've talked about, which is like affiliate code programs where the streamers themselves make money specifically off of, on top of like the regular, unconditional lump sum that they're getting. Affiliate codes are how the streamers make money off of your losses. And the way that those losses operate, they make like a percentage of the losses usually. Obviously, other people have like different deals. I don't know what everyone's deal looks like. But having said that, I mean, that's the worst of the worst, in my opinion. You're like directly milking your fan base in that system. And that's how casinos fucking make a shitload of money too, for the record, because you're literally relying on like, maybe 100 or 1,000 or whatever, 1% of your audience to become like deeply addicted to gambling. That's how casinos make money. For those of you who don't know, the reason why, for example, DraftKings is able to give 75 free fucking dollars to people, right? 75 free dollars to people to go and do DraftKings, or the reason why casinos give you money to go into the casino and gamble is because for every like 100 people that they can't actually suck in, that will just gamble one time and then go, all right, fuck it, this is not for me, I'm moving on. There's one guy that is going to literally pay for the 100 people and then some. That's how it works.
Feel the codes, right? But I think that is weird. If your main juicer is the juicing the viewers, that's just disgusting.
No, but that's my point. That's what gambling sponsorships are. You're juicing your viewers.
Okay.
Because how else do they make money if not off of your viewers?
Brilliant take by Iman here. She's right.
Off of your viewers' L's.
That makes sense. It's kind of hard for me to rationalize it in a good thought. Okay. It does make sense, right? But if I'm going to gamble and do that for the exact same amount, sometimes it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm doing it anyway. Like, whatever I did, like, I gambled for like 4 days.
What they say about everything? For every 10 guys watching Twitch for free, there's one addict that will donate 25 subs. The addictive behavior in this situation is not a well-documented addiction or a vice. What you're talking about in that situation is not even functionally a part of Twitch's core revenue building strategy. It's just completely irrelevant to the conversation. What I'm describing to you is the 1% to 2% basically paying the way for casinos to fucking operate because they're dumping their entire earnings into it. That is completely different than like Twitch makes money and monetizes off of every single person that clicks on the platform and monetizes off of like everyone's ad dollars. It's super duper fucking I don't even know how to describe how much more different that is. I don't know if that was a joke or not, but
and nobody had any problems with it, right? I gambled the 5th day, right, with a sponsor, and everybody got mad. I was gonna gamble regardless.
Like people who gift subs do not give subscribers with the hopes that like it will be a return on their gifted subscription investment. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing. It's not even remotely comparable. I don't know if I took the bait.
How's that?
Okay. It's like a spectrum, in my opinion. And in my opinion, when you take millions of dollars in order to gamble on specific websites and platforms, you are on the end of the spectrum where you're teetering between bad and evil.
Why is it that every time you talk about dollar stuff on stream, chatters find a way to try and make you look shitty? Because socialism. Socialism means poverty.
In my opinion. You gambling for fun on multiple platforms, I'd put it in a gray area in the middle. Someone doing a poker tournament or gambling IRL, I put that like, much further on the other side because there are way more barriers of entry. You're saving one for a duck. Okay, good.
Oh, okay. I'll show the last one for us. Sorry.
No, there's that last one, so you can eat the third one. Okay, because like if you're like, hey guys, if you enter stream, you're like, I'm gonna go gamble. Like I'm not mad at you for saying that, even though
earlier when I went to the bathroom, I gambled in your bathroom.
That's crazy.
I don't care because like it's very different from streaming yourself on a platform that people can access very easily.
That's not good.
Versus
it's not
like
good.
Casinos,
That's like
there's a reason that
that's
few and far in
unhealthy.
between.
Sexy
And it's
Panda
hard to
Bear,
get-
thank you for the gifted subs. Please do not unhealthily gift me subs, which is similar to a gambling addiction, according to some in the chat. Not, but anyway. We got a gift sub addict, dude.
There, you need your ID, you gamble with cash. Like, there's all these barriers that make it less likely for people to lose money or become addicted.
You're not wrong.
But sorry, wait. Can I just say one last thing?
Yeah, at the same time, doing the gambling does that as well.
But
it doesn't exacerbate that.
But
Go ahead.
especially when you are taking money from a sponsorship, the only reason they're giving you that money, like, what is their business model? Their business model is to profit off of your viewers.
Okay, no, yeah,
So
that makes
they
sense.
get that money and they give you some of that money. So
Okay.
you're just juicing your viewers.
Okay.
Thank you, Catalina's Red
you are
Era
right.
and
This
Rufio
does make sense.
Overwatch.
I agree.
Thank you, Catalina's Red Era
Let's
for the
say-
10.
Okay.
Let's say.
Rufio Overwatch for the 5.
Not even
gifted
let's
subs.
say. Okay. I buy 500K worth of crypto.
Sorry. Yeah.
Right? And I load up in my account and I'm saying I'm gonna gamble for 4 days.
And Manny
Right?
Kun for the 7.
Yep.
So I
Or
gamble
for
for
the
4
5
days
gifted.
Yep.
and I lose 200K over 4 days.
Okay.
My 2 last days were sponsored, so they paid me for gambling. I didn't even use the money. It was raw balance the whole time.
Okay.
Was one right, one wrong, or both wrong, or both right?
I think
What's the
if you're
distinction?
gambling on your own time, that's your decision. I don't really give a fuck. If you're streaming yourself gambling, especially a lot of money, you need to accept that you are having a negative impact on your
Yeah,
viewers.
absolutely, 100%. Yeah,
Right?
okay, yeah, I can.
And
I can,
then
I can
the
take
fact
advantage
that
of that. Yeah.
that company is giving you money on the 4th or 5th day.
Bro, I swear to God, she's doing a great job. I feel like I've literally described it as this, no? Like, when me and Ethan talked about this, like, isn't this how I described it? I feel like I said, like, there are varying degrees of, like, wrongdoing in this situation, and it's, like, at the height when it's literally getting paid for an affiliate program. Yes, you have 100%. She's doing a great job, by the way.
They're just telling you this is how much of a negative effect you're having on your viewers.
Okay, yeah.
It's this much millions.
So basically, it is like an agree.
Thank you, D-Design, for the
everybody
10
said
subs.
they're both wrong. And you know what? You know what that means, right? It means that they just are against the fact they're just against gambling and promoting gambling, or just even just doing it without a sponsor. Which I think is
streaming gambling is what.
Yeah, exactly. Paid or unpaid.
People agree with your takes as long as it doesn't come out of your mouth. Yeah, I mean, I think people agree with my takes even when it comes out of my mouth too. They're just but that's irrelevant though.
Both are wrong. If they say both are wrong, then they're just against the streaming of gambling, which is fair. You can be against it. Okay. I'm personally not against it. I understand the wrongs. It's just a matter of it. And I'm just gonna do it. I enjoy doing it. I'm like a gambler at heart, literally.
I think it's I think you can say that you enjoy some. Okay.
Also, yeah, Sean the Black is right. My gambling takes were pretty well received. I don't think people got mad at me for my gambling shit, for my gambling takes. The only people that got mad at me were like deranged haters. You know what I mean? That was oh God, why am I talking about this shit? It doesn't matter. All right, let's just stay on the subject. The only reason you say that you're not against it is because, one, you've done it, and two, you enjoy it. But you can have done something and think that it's fun and agree that it is a bad thing to do.
It is a bad thing.
Yeah. But I feel like sometimes you say, no, it's not a bad thing. I'm not against it.
Okay. Makes sense. It's a bad thing. I'm not against it.
It's a bad thing. But you should be against it. Okay, wait. What do you define as being against something?
Okay. I think also you shouldn't be drinking excessively, and you shouldn't be taking sponsors for alcohol on stream. I think it's bad. I still do it.
If you think it's bad, why do you do it?
Because I want to.
I actually think taking alcohol sponsorships is so far from casino stuff, actually, or gambling.
I think drinking is a massive problem, if not as big as gambling, that destroys families across the nation.
I think the difference between like drinking responsibly, and becoming like an alcoholic is different than gambling responsibly and becoming a gambling addict. I don't know how to describe it, and I don't know, like, I'm sure that there's empirical evidence backing this for sure. Even then, like, the reason why I liked what the chatter said about alcohol sponsorships is because, like, if you literally fucking did the, $200K per roll equivalent, you know what I mean? Like the pumping $50,000 into a stock or into a fucking stock.com or whatever the fuck, like stake.com, Gamba machine, slot machine, and hitting it over and over again. The equivalent for alcohol on that would literally be to down an entire fucking Fireball bottle. Okay? Just like straight up, just down an entire bottle and be like, you should do this too. You know what I mean? And also, if you want to move on to that analogy further, you're not even drinking a real fucking bottle of alcohol. You're drinking a fake bottle of alcohol with a little bit of alcohol in it. And also on top of that, there is the same fucking safeguards that exist in society normally that would stop you from being able to gamble when you're underage, for example, are completely taken away because you can buy the alcohol directly off the stream by using a VPN or something and have it delivered to your house immediately. Like, the accessibility of online casinos and the way that you can get around the safeguards that otherwise would normally make it impossible for someone who's under the age of 21 to be able to go out and fucking gamble their life savings, the ease and accessibility of online casinos make it so much worse, I think. Does that make sense? And from an excessiveness equivalent, yes, it would literally be like fucking downing an entire handle and being like, look, I can do it. You can do it too. When you're pumping fucking, 50 racks into every fucking spin on what you're gambling. Gambling is like slapping your homie on the ass. Like, you're not gay, right? But you still can't resist. What? What? No motherfucking soul that watches Train is going to gamble with an anywhere close to this money. Yeah, you're not understanding that though. For someone who doesn't have a lot of money, Train is gambling what, 50K a fucking spin. You're not going to do that, obviously. You don't have that kind of money, but you're seeing his wins. You're not really recognizing the losses. The wins are significantly more important to you. Actually, no, it's not even true. Hold on. There is evidence on this. Hold on. This is, again, I'm remembering information right now. Let me describe something to you. Gambling addiction is not about wins or losses. It's about reaction, and it's about the weight. You get the dopamine not when you win. You don't get the dopamine when you lose. You get the dopamine when you're in that brief moment when you're waiting to see if you won or you lost. Did you guys know this? It's actually the chase. It has nothing to do with the wins or the losses, which is why it's such a damaging and crippling type of addiction. Many people think, oh, no, I'm gambling because, like, oh, I love the fucking wins and I'm gambling because I want to make money. No, you're gambling because the anticipation of whether you lost the money or you won more money is what keeps you coming for more. That's why gambling addicts like Michael Jordan, for example, will gamble on like insane shit. You know what I mean? If you've ever had like a gambling addict in your life, if you know anything about gambling addicts, like they will gamble on anything. It's not about like making money for them. It's about literally trying to create that same anticipation over and over again in your life in every capacity. Yeah. By the way, that's 100% a fact. This is like people have what do you call it? Like people have been studied. This has been studied endlessly. Like what people to gamble and what people are trying to get out of gambling. And you see their fucking brain activity spike in moments where they're anticipating more than when they win or when they lose. So, it's a really, really damaging aspect. Addiction is about how you feel and less about what you're doing and its consequences. Yeah. And for the record, that's why I was saying, like, yeah, Train is dropping 50 racks, but you're dropping the 50 racks equivalent for your own personal life. Do you understand? You're dropping 50 racks in your own personal life, whatever the equivalent of 50 racks is. For you, it might be $300 that you don't have. You know what I mean?
It's an insane problem and destroys literally youth,
I agree.
growth, childhoods. That's a big problem. But yet, one is okay and one is another.
No.
I think they're both bad, and I still do both.
I think they are both bad. One is more normalized, and the other is just like, holy shit, why are we making something that's bad even more normalized? I think they're both shitty. But I'm very surprised that, like, you're so willing to exclaim why it's so bad, but you'll still do it just fine. Like, why?
Okay.
That's kind of surprising to me.
I understand.
Like, if anything, you sound passionate. Like, alcohol ruins families. So does gambling.
Gambling is worse for addictive behavior than alcohol is in some ways. At least it's the most suicidal of addictions. That's a fact as well. For the record. But I think part of it is because, like, the accessibility of alcohol and how many people can actually socially drink without, like, becoming an alcoholic creates this, like, weird headspace where you legitimately think, like, well, alcohol has a larger impact on society. Yes, that's true. But the people that do actually end up getting addicted to gambling, people that end up getting addicted to gambling, it's, like, really, really difficult to get out of it. And also, like the way that they get addicted is somehow alcohol destroys your body. Why compare them? They're both bad. I mean, I agree. I do agree. I think alcohol addiction is horrible too. Do not misunderstand me. I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I'm saying that both are bad, but one can have worse consequences.
Okay. Yeah, but Pluto says they're not mutually exclusive. Yeah, I get it. The point is that I enjoy doing it.
I think your subjective experience doing it is
because it's fun. Because it's fun. It's
Yes.
fun, and I can afford it. I can afford doing it.
just because it's fun doesn't mean it's like, okay. Would you have as much fun gambling if you were doing it off stream than on stream?
Yeah, I gamble every day. I lost 2 mil this month.
Really?
I lost 1.85 mil this month.
Guys, don't gamble. Okay. I think you can do something and say it's bad. Like, I think you should say that you're against it because you say that it's bad.
Gambling addiction in the brain. Gambling, whether it be lottery, scratch cards, casino, bingo, slot machines, internet poker, or sports betting, is more acceptable and accessible than ever before. For most people, it's a recreational activity, but for a significant minority, it progresses to a serious problem. And that minority basically fucking runs that entire industry. And the marketing that revolves around gambling almost entirely revolves around trying to find that significant minority and trying to create a group of individuals that are more susceptible to being in that significant minority to literally fucking basically keep the whole thing afloat. Clearly, you have nothing worthwhile to do with so much money. No disrespect. Okay. Bro, if you lost that kind of money gambling, the internet would explode. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not. I have like crazy I have crazy haters. XQC does not. You know, that's different. I mean, he also literally wore a Dolce & Gabbana fucking shirt to the casino stream. And you don't see motherfuckers canceling him over how much money he spent on that. He has a McLaren that he can't drive. He can do things that I can't. It's just how it is. We know this already. You just have to like live with that. And plus, I don't even want to I don't want to become a gambling addict and lose $2 million a month on gambling. That's not a person saying he likes socialism. That's the cost. Unfortunately, it's not a real cost. It's only a cost if you guys are fucking stupid. That's why I always say, don't play into the dumbass right-wing memes.
Even if you do it, you get what I mean? I mean, I know some people would probably call you a hypocrite for it, but I don't really think so.
No, I try not to be a hypocrite. It's not that. I understand it's kind of hard. It's like a spectrum of bad. It's like taking a sponsor for a game you know is complete ass crack, and you're saying, this game is fantastic and will make you have good grades and have women, right? It's
not like, okay.
That's bad, but you still do it though. It's the same narrative.
Pause, champ.
You know it's bad and you still do it.
If someone buys Pirates in Space 3 because I told them that it was good, and they end up having a shit time, that's not gonna ruin their lives or their families. Gambling is different.
Yeah, no, she's absolutely correct on this, by the way. That's not a great argument at all. Like Raid Shadow Legends or whatever, or I don't even know how that fucking game operates, but like all matter of marketing is not the same. Obviously, marketing is still inherently about deception, right? If you want to consider it that. Even if you're literally fucking showcasing certain and highlighting certain good aspects of a game and not the bad ones, you're still marketing a game that's not going to be perfect. Some people are not going to like it. Some people are going to like it. It doesn't matter. But ultimately, it's not like you're fucking... It's not comparable in any meaningful capacity. Is Raid Shadow Legends gambling? People are saying it's gambling. I don't know. I've never... They've reached out many times. I've never actually fucking worked with them. I played it, so I don't... Well, regardless, it's not correct.
Are they similar instances in a sense? Yes. Are they comparable directly? No. Apples to oranges, dude.
Apples to oranges. I think it's why I don't think I'm a hypocrite about it, because inherently.
Do you still do gambling sponsorships?
Nope, I just gamble off stream. I'm on a down
Then
streak.
I don't think you're a hypocrite at all.
Okay, but I still think that sponsors are still kind of fine. It depends. I think it's give and take.
Why do you think they're kind of fine?
Bro, you're watching a motherfucker who's addicted personally, okay? try to rationalize it and cope with his own personal addictions while simultaneously recognizing that it's not the greatest thing to do to your audience, which is why he stopped doing it. That's it. Why didn't you continue doing it? If you don't care, if you have no moral qualms with it. But, you know, it's just, yeah, he doesn't. That's it. That's the point. Like, that's probably part of the reason why you stopped.
Because at the end of the day, at a certain point, I think people can claim a certain amount, not all, of responsibility for their own actions. And people can, if you try your best.
Ray just brings up the question of whether or not gacha games are gambling or not, and knowing someone who spent $800 a month on Genshin Impact is definitely gambling. I don't know what gacha. I don't even know what gacha streams are or gacha games are, to be honest. So I'm not aware of what raid is. But if you understand that, like, there are some games that have gambling in them, right, built into them, like loot boxes and shit like that. Even then, it might be seen as a gateway drug into like hardcore gambling, and for that reason, it's like still bad. However, we're talking about the difference, for example, between like poker and poker streams, right? Which I watched last night and it was very entertaining. And like straight slots. Poker still requires some degree of skill. It's still gambling because of the cards that you get. The cards that you get, you have no control over, right? But in that situation, there's no method for slots. It's just slots. It's just pure luck. And it's created in a way to like suck you in with the colors and the expectation itself. And it's literally like, it's the difference between like doing microdosing mushrooms and you're like fucking mainlining heroin. You know what I mean? Like, sure, they're both drugs, but the way it fucks your brain up is entirely different. And the accessibility of it is entirely different. Like, how quickly it can fuck your brain up is entirely different. Gacha is slots, but for anime? Oh, gacha is slots? Okay. I don't know what gacha is, so I can't, I can't speak on that. But I'm talking about, like, loot boxes and shit. And even then, I don't like that either, like the loot box stuff.
To mitigate some of the influence and some of the negative one, I think people still have a brain in their heads. And when they
basically loot box games that directly affect your competitiveness within the game. Oh, okay. So gacha is weeb loot boxes. Is that what it is? Gachapon, the little capsule toys in Japan. The other Hasan is coming to speak at my uni. Should I buy tickets? Yeah, he's great. Okay, I'm learning so much right now about things I did not know. Gacha is like trading cards. Gacha games are games randomly generated benefits in a game that is usually free to play, but implies are hard to win. Pay to win mentality that encourages players to spend larger sums of money and a chance to win a rare item, very small chance, in order to progress yourself through the game further. These games also make it super hard to progress if you do not spend cash. It is literally pay to play, not pay to win. Any game where you pull summons is a gacha game. So like Genshin, FFBE, Raid, FIFA, NBA 2K, Madden is short for Gachapon, which are capsule machines. Dude, as soon as I said, I don't know what gacha is, I know that there's someone in the chat that said, you talk a lot for not knowing anything about the things you're talking about. Let me guess. Someone say that? Not knowing anything about gacha doesn't fucking... Oh, here it is. There it is. Yeah, you tend to not know a lot. Motherfucker, we're talking about gambling addiction, and I'm giving you empirical evidence as to how gambling fucking works in your brain and teaching you things that you had no fucking idea on how it works. Just because I don't know what fucking gacha games doesn't mean that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about with respect to how addictive behavior works, with respect to dealing with addiction, both from all of the research that I've read, and not only that, but also my own personal experience as well. Suck my dick.
Through the whole process of...
And I'm fucking addicted to sniping idiots, so...
buying crypto or buying whatever and putting it into a system that's extremely voluntary and has a bunch of gates and steps behind it, and then that's very voluntary. And I don't think they're getting like mind controlled for it. And I think getting the good guidelines, like having a 18+ thing, then people not to gamble. Some of these guys, they're like, dude, you should, if you want... I'm not kidding. Some of the conversations I had with some of these owners or whatever, they're like, go on your stream and you should show them how much you're losing when they say, like, you can show deposits, show withdrawals, show how much money you're losing, and tell them not to gamble and not use the website, literally. But they know people are going to do it regardless. They don't mind you doing that. It's like if a game told you that you can play their game and say their game is dog shit. That's why I don't mind playing a game sponsored when they tell me that there's no talking points and I can say whatever I want. And sometimes I'll take sponsorships and I'll say this game is dog shit. I had a huge sponsor last time for Modern Warfare, I was playing the game. I said, yeah, this. Sometimes I'm dying, and I'm dying. This game is ass crack, but they let me do it.
To be completely
I'm
honest,
trying to be genuine about it.
I understand what you're saying, but I think all of those points are heavy justifications and copiums to make you feel better about what you're doing. Not just you, but people in general who do this.
Fair enough.
And it's like the gambling companies tell you to do that to try to convince you that it's an okay thing to do.
Yeah. Also, you can't rationalize with an addict. Like, they're number one at fucking justifying their behavior, one, to themselves and to everyone around them. They got a fuckload more experience on that. You know what I mean? Like, it's, if you yourself have ever struggled with addiction, or if you know someone who's struggled with addiction, you already fucking know. Like, trying to logically and reasonably debate their addiction is impossible venture.
But this actual human behavior,
Result.
this ends up relating more to like, how do you view human behavior in general? Your take is like, at the end of the day, it's that person's
If I
responsibility.
wanted to study human behavior, I would have stayed in school.
But I'm explaining that your point is that, oh, people can't really be influenced. It's their responsibility to make a decision. And like, yeah, sure, but you cannot deny the influence that occurs to people. If they hear something enough times, if something looks cool enough, they're gonna do it no matter how shitty it is. And sure, it is their responsibility. Like, you shouldn't be sued by them for the money that they lose. Okay, maybe not to that extent, but it's still your fault that you caused that influence.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I can agree with you to some degree. I still think that if you take the proper steps and proper guidelines, you can kind of mitigate the problem and still have the content. I said it last time. I think gambling is content. I think it's fun.
I think so too.
It is content.
I mean, that's why, like, I'm not mad about like Rust gambling or even poker tournaments or other things like that.
Yeah. Dude, and even slots itself is content, clearly. Like, hella people fucking watch Train do slots for hours and hours and hours. He's got like fucking 30K people sitting in his chat watching him, right? So it's a really weird situation if you're like hyper focusing exclusively on maximizing the juice, maximizing the content, making it as like fun as possible for your audience as an entertainer. It's like doubly addictive because you're addicted to the built-in audience that has. You're addicted to your overarching goals are aligning in this like really damaging and nefarious way, because like your ultimate goal is to make as much content as possible and, you know, make it as fun as possible. So when you got fucking hella people, it's like reinforcing you to continue doing that. No one would watch people do slots if they were doing $1 spins though. I mean, yeah.
But when it comes to like taking gambling sponsorships, literally that is just your viewers' money.
Yeah, but sometimes I think people like and they enjoy seeing money being de-printed.
Sure. I don't disagree with you.
I think de-printing money is also fun.
I'm surprised.
Something being content doesn't make it okay. Lol, what? Wait, how did you arrive at that conclusion? I'm not saying it's okay. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's okay, and I've talked about it a lot. I've talked against it a lot. I've always talking about what XQC is saying. If you're saying that that's what XQC's take is, and you're arguing with him, then
like the heavy copium in the chat, likely from people that are.
I mean, he's added me, so I thought he was talking to me. My bad.
To even gamble, that are like, she's missing the point. I understand it's people's responsibility, but that doesn't detract the fact that I'm influencing their actions.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
True. In that case, I wish people advocated harder and stronger against smoking, vaping, drugs, talking about drugs,
Sure.
Alcohol, consuming alcohol, sponsors for them, the whole scope. I wish people that were as adamant
but
about
just
all
because-
these across the board, not be a nitpick Andy.
I agree, actually.
But yeah, that's whataboutism, and it's a deflection method, and I'm the referee now, dude.
However, I will say that just because all of these things are bad doesn't mean we should allow more bad stuff.
Not wrong. I'm just telling you that.
I do think if someone is like, smoke whatever every day and like drinking and doing all of this shit, and then they're like, oh my god, but gambling, no.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
I understand how that can feel high road-ish.
So I'm kind of wrong, and I'll double down about being wrong, but I won't take getting high-roaded by people who do dog shit. And that's not even whataboutism. It's not whataboutism. I'm not saying what.
Part of the reason why they never mentioned what I have to say on this regard, because like I don't do any of the other stuff, but then they'll hyper focus on any of the fucking retractors like Misgift that have their own personal have their own personal like Fireball Fridays or whatever. It's like, okay, but that doesn't matter. It's still you're not hyper focusing on the main issue at hand.
What about this? What about that? I'm saying you're not personally gonna high road me as somebody who does the other shit. I agree that it is wrong, and I'll double down on it. But you're not gonna act superior, or some of the people are gonna act superior. You're not gonna do that.
You do nicotine gums? Yeah, dude, it's fucking incredible. Are you kidding me? Not only do I chew nicotine gum, but I literally fucking tell people that it's an incredible way to stop smoking. There are probably people in this community that have been able to stop smoking because they started chewing nicotine gum. Are you insane? Did you literally just try to use that as a fucking counter? Not only do I not have like a nicotine gum sponsorship or anything like that, but I chew it myself personally. But nicotine gum helps you get off cigarettes, which is a significantly fucking more awful a vice that fucking kills you. What? That's how I stopped smoking cigarettes.
Your whole brand is you being fucking high. What are you talking about?
I think he's talking about Ethan. Is that what he's talking about or something?
I'd rather someone promotes weed than gambling, though. I'll be honest. I would much rather.
Oh, he's talking about Pokelaws?
One of my friends smoked some weed, some fake weed, and I was in the fucking asylum.
Asylum.
Oh
no.
my god, what?
Oh no.
Thanks, Poke.
Now he's in asylum. This is what Poke taught me.
Now I'm just doing some copium whataboutism. We shouldn't do whataboutism, okay? I wish you understood this is a behavior I do a lot, okay? But it doesn't justify it. Like, should I laugh at this joke? Should I make this joke? Should I make fun of this guy? Should I insult this guy? I shouldn't. I still do it, right?
Sorry. It's just so funny to sympathize you and listen to you sometimes because you're like, should I laugh at this guy? Should I shit on him? Should I be an asshole? I shouldn't, but I do it. It's like the inner monologue. Sorry, go on.
Okay?
How do you understand a word he says?
That's gonna
You
have
just
to about
listen
these
to him
things.
enough.
And I just wish that people understood
Nicotine gum
sometimes.
is just another ploy to get people addicted to nicotine. The real nasty shit that got me to quit was pouches for 2 weeks. They're disgusting and got me off nicotine completely. Fuck no, dude. Pouches are fucking awful. Pouches are really addictive. What are you talking about? I literally started smoking cigarettes. I started chewing tobacco first, and then I started smoking cigarettes. No, you're absolutely wrong. And pouches still have carcinogens in it. Nicotine gum, at least, the worst part of nicotine gum is just nicotine. No, you're wrong about that, chatter. Ugh, pouches are terrible. Homies don't know. I used to fucking literally do grizzly long cut wintergreen, okay? Straight up, horseshoe, double horseshoed up, spitting everywhere. I had my fucking little water ball that I'd spit into, you know what I mean? Yeah, dude, I was a grizzly boy. Okay, goddamn. I was dipping like a freak, dude. Whoo! Shit was fire. I mean, it's not. It's really bad. Don't do it, obviously. It's really, really horrible. And it'll fuck your life up. Cigarettes are really, really difficult to quit, dude. I will never go back. Nicotine patches are better, though, because the gum still reinforces the addictive highs and lows. The patch gets you out of that. I have heard of this, but the reason why gum is actually pretty good is because you can substitute it for regular chewing gum. Because I have an oral fixation. Stop saying Florida man. Stop saying Florida man. Stop saying Florida man. Okay, it's not a Florida man thing. They're talking about Salt, nicotine pouches, not chew. Wait, pouches are like still they have tobacco in them, right? Are there actual like nicotine pouches, just pure nicotine? I don't think so.
Sometimes it doesn't come across, or does it come from another narrative in my head? Some ulterior, other sort of mind pattern. That's where it comes from.
Snus still
And
has tobacco in it.
That is something I replicate a lot, right? Yeah, maybe you're gonna convince yourself to have another mindset or another thing, right? But the reality is I don't. I know it's bad. I still do it. I understand the points behind it. Maybe I need to have a shift of perspective. Maybe I need to go out there, look around.
Snus.
I don't know.
I think if you ever saw a family that was like detrimentally impacted by gambling, you would understand why it's the kind of
I lost a family member to gambling.
The
the
fuck?
whole
He's like, I
family
still don't
member?
give a shit.
Yeah,
like-
I mean, yeah, the person is no longer with us.
Really?
Yeah, to gambling.
Can you explain?
Yeah, but I understand that.
What?
Because you know.
But then why wouldn't you want to minimize the influence that it has within a society? And I feel like allowing it to be something that
It's
you
kind
can
of
do
hard
online
because it's something
and
I
is so
like doing and I
accessible.
want to do it and I can afford to do it. And so I'm trying to tell people is that
Yes, but
yeah,
when you're
I can.
streaming it, you're encouraging this to people who cannot afford to do that.
Yeah, and
that's the
I
issue.
think to an extent,
I'm not mad at you
by
for doing it on your own
us
time.
Doing stuff on stream influence people overall.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And it's kind of hard to dodge
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And that's going to happen. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's content. I think it's fun to do. I think it's generally fun to watch. But I understand the problems about it. So I don't know. It's kind of like a. Yeah, I don't know actually. Yeah, I have to have more thought to it.
Okay. I respect that.
I would think spinning for hours, dead spins, getting absolutely nothing. You know, sometimes it's a good anti-gameplay ad, but I understand that people, gorillas, will still be influenced by the one win or the one fucking 1000x on fucking Razor Shark or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, dude, seaweed, ding, 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 ding. But it's like, dude, I spun for 8 hours doing only dead spins to get there, and they'll
All
only
I-
get that segment.
When you say like we should talk about it more, at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding is how much money these companies are willing.
She's
to
right.
pay.
So, y'all are mad at XQC for streaming gambling while Tucker Carlson streams to millions on Fox. Wait, what? What kind of fucking insane take is this? Do you think we're not covering Tucker Carlson regularly? What the fuck? What? That was a wild one, dude. Especially here of all communities. Like, there's got to be a joke. Anyway, this community famously loves Tucker Carlson. We love Tucker Carlson, famously. He's brain damaged Hasan fan. If you think that a person who comes in here and says Tucker Carlson is streaming to millions and y'all don't talk about it, if you think that they're a fan, I don't know what to tell you. There's a lot of focus by XQC on the wins when the chase is one of the greatest factors in developing gambling addictions. Yes. So this is why it's important. And this is something that I did not know originally, and I learned, right? And I am describing it to you. It's not the wins and the loses. It's the chasing of the high. The moment where your fucking brain starts firing up all of its synapses is not necessarily when you win, and it's not when you lose. It's the anticipation leading up to it. That's why gambling is so damaging and so nefarious and so awful. I did not know this. I did not know this originally, okay? But there's plenty of evidence that showed it to me. Even before I knew this, however, I would tell XQC in the conversation that we had that it was more so about, people hyper-focusing on the wins and not necessarily the losses, and that possibility is what drives people to go and do it, because they don't remember the million fucking losses that Train had, and even if they do see the losses, they think, I'm different, I'm built differently, I want to fucking recreate that big win. That's what fucking drives them into going and doing it. That's what is the starting point for so many of them. But once you are sucked in, once you're already a gambler, the mere mention of gambling itself, even when you're talking about it in this regard, kind of fucking gives people that craving where you're like, "Ooh, I'm reminded. Maybe it'll be my day today." Are rappers bad people for influencing drugs and gangs? Great question. Now, here is the reality about art and culture. I'm not going to sit here and fucking complain about Casino or any number of different movies that have gambling in them. That is, because I have a brain cell and I can figure out that there's a difference between people literally directly gambling for 8 fucking hours, someone that is profoundly influential to a broad audience, and like seeing gambling in movies, okay? As far as rappers promoting drugs and gangs or whatever, they are describing their livelihood, their lives, their lifestyles. It is more so a reflection on what they do. It's also art. I am not an advocate to ban video games because I think like video games are causing violence. I'm not an advocate to change culture in any capacity like that, because there's a difference between, XQC raging, for example, or XQC making content by, killing motherfuckers in a video game versus XQC playing, XQC, doing Gamba nonstop. Okay. Taylor Swift didn't actually kill a guy, Lamau. Yeah. I once heard Future and now I'm addicted to perks. Seeing the professional poker player on Ludwig stream act like a baby was funny as fuck, bro. I love Gamba streams. No, Gamba is good content. And like, even then, poker still, while it is gambling, okay, and you should not do it, you will fuck your life up. It still requires a degree of skill in comparison to just fucking doing straight rolls. You know what I mean? Like straight fucking stake.com rolls nonstop. I've been dying for you to talk about this. There's a difference in art between something like Uncut Gems, which literally as a man destroys life by gambling, and something like Wolf of Wall Street, who's now glorified as a girl boss who's gotten millions of followers in business school looking for ways to be the next Belfort. But even then, like, poker is player per player. It's not player versus an automated machine. There's a degree of skill involved in it. Even with blackjack, I would say there's a degree of skill involved in it. No such thing exists for just clicking a button. So on the varying degrees of bad, I would say that is so much worse than the other ones.
Give streamers. Whatever they're giving streamers, they're making back.
Vegas, not true, dude. Train is the slot whisperer.
So much more. And everything they make back is your viewers' losses.
Okay.
Like that's the only
I gotta pee again. Holy
piece
fuck,
of
I'm peeing a lot.
we have regarding this. We're not running trials on like,
God damn it.
How much are people being addicted? How much are doing this, moderately?
Yeah.
We can't we just don't have enough data like that. That's the only point that we can actually go off of.
If I were to have this perspective right now, then I can genuinely tell you with absolute certainty, and I feel bad about this almost, that I've taken game sponsors that have, because I know the stats behind it, that have been actually worse than some of the Gamba shit. Just because
I think games are no big deal.
I played and got sponsors to play games that are absolute dog garbanzo, right? For insane amount of money.
Yeah, I really don't think that's a
and
big
that
deal.
money that money's people's money. No?
No. They're very different things because listen, do I think it's good to promote something that you hate? No. But is it as detrimental as promoting gambling? Not even close. Because again, if someone spends $20 on a game and it ends up being shit, oh, well, fuck, that's $20 down the line. If someone ends up doing what you do and gambling and then loses their entire livelihoods, that's their life on the line.
Okay. So, then, are you against the concept that, let's say, I take a Genshin Impact sponsor,
Okay.
right, for it was
That's a great game.
Was it 2 hours? And it was an absurd amount.
Yeah, but
And I
Genshin
spent
is great.
every minute gambling in the menus with packs.
But wouldn't the people who get influenced to Gamba by a Twitch stream be the same person who ultimately ends up making a life full of bad decisions because they're easily influenced? Where's the personal accountability? Some people can't be helped. I think personal accountability factors into this. It's just more so about the personal accountability that us streamers have in this circumstance of pushing people towards that lifelong, making it easier for people to fuck up. That's it. That's the point. Like, so yeah, personal accountability is important. You know, you should take personal accountability, but what you also should recognize that we as content creators also have personal accountability in pushing people towards that, making it easier for them to get involved with, bad choices, a life of bad choices, especially considering that, like, again, and I don't know how to describe this to many of you, but gambling is a multi-billion-dollar industry. XQC is better looking than you. I agree. I think he's a beautiful person. He is a very good-looking guy. Anyway, as I was mentioning, gambling is a multi-billion-dollar industry that mathematically is designed in a way to suck in those people who are susceptible to becoming gambling addicts, that will destroy their lives and that will, go so far as to make them kill themselves. That makes sense? I hope you guys understand that. So it's really, really, really nefarious. It is much, much more serious than you understand. You think you're built differently. You can think that you're above it. You can, say like, oh, well, it's the person's fault. But like ultimately, not all things are the same. The impact that certain things have on people's lives is a little bit different. Like, yeah, all marketing can be considered to be nefarious or bad, but ultimately some kind of marketing is worse than others, especially when you're marketing gambling in the same way.
Right.
But again, so is the drinking industry, so is the cigarettes industry, so is the consumer industry, all which I love apart from the cigs. No, consumerism industry is not the same as like deeply addictive substances. Every single thing that you just mentioned have a varying degree of problems. And by the way, it is bad if you're fucking taking a vape sponsorship or if you're taking a fucking cigarette smoking sponsorship. And people would be way more fucking angry at someone who is taking a cigarette sponsorship if such a thing even fucking existed. But there's a lot of rules around that. Okay, there's a lot of rules around what, even with alcohol, there's a lot of rules with like what you can market and how you can market it. On television, for example, you will never see someone drink beer, right? You won't see someone put alcohol on their lips. Why? Because we're fucking halal? No, it's not, because it's illegal, because, that's a visual trigger. There are rules that you are unaware of that you probably take for granted. There's a reason why you can't just like fucking walk into a casino and start gambling at the age of like 12. You know what I mean?
So technically, I'm trying not to do the whataboutism here. I'm just trying to get a sort of a middle ground, right? We're like,
you're
that is
giving
literally
examples of things that maybe have similar traits in some regard, but at the end of the day, they're just not as bad on the spectrum of things that can be bad.
Okay.
And I don't even think that is something that is bad enough to run around and be like, that guy's doing something terrible. Like, it's not about being perfect when it comes to any like moral or ethical issues, but when something is very evidently bad, like, listen, guys, if you want to come at me and try to...
And for the record, once again, that's not as bad. Does not change anything. Like, that's not... You're just... Pointing to other bad things does not change the conversation around the bad thing that we're talking about right now. Okay? It's called a deflect... That's called deflection. And that's what you are engaging in when you do that. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? Well, that's... Again, you're deflecting away from the main conversation. You don't want to have the main conversation. Gambling is not evidently bad. Bad take.
Prove that there are just as many... That there are just as many people who lose their whole livelihoods to Genshin Impact as there are that do to, like, legitimate gambling. Like, there are gambling... Like, people do lose a lot of money with mobile Gamba. They really do.
Yeah, this is where you get a tank and you get killed in an Inferno Tower.
Like, yeah, people do lose a lot of money. Listen, and I'm not saying...
Not deflecting, just want to bring up how this can be said about another massive industry that preys on potential addicts, but also conducts sex trafficking and grooming on the low in order to fuel it. What? happening. Imagine a massive industry that preys on potential addicts, but also conducts sex trafficking and grooming on the low to fuel it. What are you talking? What are you trying to like make this into porn or something? Is that where we're going with this one? Like, yeah, no, they should deal with that for sure. Obviously, he's talking about pizza restaurants. He's talking about Hillary Clinton chatters. Talking about sex work. I know what he's talking about. He's trying to say that sex work across the board is an industry entirely built upon sex trafficking and grooming shit because he's a swerve. All right, let's continue.
Drugs or Genshin or all this. I'm so fucking mad at you for bringing all these things up because you have whataboutism into the whole topic. Guys, I'm not talking about all of those things. I'm talking about this one thing that is worse than all of those things.
It's a spectrum. I get
Yes.
it. It's a spectrum. One has more upside, downside, like in terms of like, oh, how much can you dump money? Can you wire your bank account and roll it in? If you did that in Genshin, it wouldn't be as bad because you probably hit a cap at one point where you only stuck to 1,000 instead of hundreds of thousands, right?
Yeah.
I get it. It's a spectrum. That's why I wish sometimes
People discussed other things.
Yeah, and I wish we could be open to a point where the influence would be the same impact as the actual Gamba. If you were open enough about it and say, yo guys, this is gonna be only dead spin, only loss, only garbage for hours on end, and we're just gonna, and it had this, but it's not. So I get it. It's haram, yeah. It's also very haram.
It is haram.
Every time
Wallahi on that point.
Chat says
So someone said,
Astaghfirullah.
oh, yes. Oh my god, good. Very good context.
Habibi X Gamba.
Why is an alcohol and tobacco sponsorship different though? I mean, if you say gambling sponsored streams encourages viewers to gamble, then alcohol and smoking sponsored streams encourage drinking.
Again, now they're like entertaining the deflections, and it's just like always a silly convo to have. It's just that's not the point, and you shouldn't talk about that in this situation. Okay, who cares? That's bad too. Move on. Okay. Because when you try to get to the weed, when you try to like differentiate between that, the main argument is completely changed now. Now you're having a conversation about like what's less bad, you know what I mean? And then you're parsing through like what the varying degrees of bad is. You've moved on. You've successfully moved on from the main conversation, which is gambling streams, right? And even though Poki mentions it, it's a really it's a really common thing that happens regularly, right? It's just, it's hard. It's hard not to take that bait.
Would you disagree? I wouldn't disagree.
I mean, even XQC has
really
admitted
it.
that it's
I wouldn't disagree.
whataboutism, but they still go back into it because
like,
it's like a fun conversation to entertain.
You can argue all day that they are bad, but they are just not as bad as making gambling accessible via computers and then encouraging people to do it.
Yeah,
That's why, like, all this comparison shit, it's like, you guys really must have no good points to defend it on if you're comparing it to a billion other things instead of talking about the actual issue at hand.
Yeah, you're not wrong. There's also, I just feel like from my perspective, whenever I try to do it on my own, there was, as somebody who was like 20 whatever years old, there's so many steps to get to the point where I actually gambled that I actually gave up because it's so fucking annoying. And I feel like that's where like my personal like, oh man, look, man, if you want to do it, like you actually have to fucking go all the way and you have to, so many, it's like.
And there's a reason for those things.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a lot of barriers. Like you have to put money here, do this, plug your bank account, verify your identity.
Yeah.
It's like fucking dude. Like it's a lot of steps. So I don't know. Moving on.
Yeah, but I'm glad we talked about it a bit. And you know what? Maybe some things will change.
They did a very productive convo. I think like XQ was a little bit more aggro when he was talking to me and Ethan because he like doesn't know who Ethan is, and he was like coming in hot. And like Train was involved in the conversation too. It like kind of went all over the place, but this was a good conversation because it was like cordial, you know. Vegas says download NordVPN, send crypto isn't a very big barrier. I mean, yeah, you're right. Yeah, good job to Pokimane for you know doing she did a really good job at Pokioso is much better at trying to get them to see their point, to be honest. Yeah, no, she's did a really good job. Hey, if you like this video, please subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.